Hi everyone, welcome to Murphy's Law Garage. Today we are working on Phase 1 Part 3, right? Suspension, lockouts for the subframe. Now we're on Part 3, which is for the vertical links. I've already got one pulled, clearly, and I've got it here next to the STEEDA unit, so let's take a look at it. This is like the guy she tells you, this is like you and the guy she tells you she's not interested in. She tells you not to worry about. Holy cow. You know, I have the BMR units on the GT, but they don't look anything like this. Oh my gosh, STEEDA. Wow. They are something else. What's crazy, even though this is so thick, this feels slightly lighter. If they're not the same, it's slightly lighter. Oh my gosh, that is absolutely wild. Anyways, these guys are super easy to install if you do the right things the right way. If you do it the wrong way, they can fight you quite a good bit. Let me go ahead and get you outside to the car. I'm going to show you how to pop these guys out and then how to finagle them back in again. All right, so clearly I've got the car picked up. Rear end is up. I've got it on jack stands for safety. And the wheel is off, clearly. And this is the vertical link right here that we're looking to remove. Now, you can attack this guy directly to remove it, right? Just go ahead and remove these bolts and push it out. But I'd like to submit to you a easier way for getting this to come out and go back in. I've done this quite a few times on that guy right there, the 800 horsepower, wheel horsepower GT. If you just start right here, taking these bolts out and pop this guy out, quite often there's a ton of tension between the lower control arm and the upper part of the knuckle here where it attaches that can make this very difficult to pry out, and you'll end up scarring up your new vertical link. So hear me out. First thing you're going to want to do is remove the upper shock mount. Let me grab a socket here so I can tell you what size this is. I think this is it. Yep. So this is a 18 mil. Take an 18 mil, knock these two guys loose, and that's going to let you swing the top of the shock. Now you can see this is very loose, and that's because I've taken a 15 mil and also loosened the lower mounting bolts. There's two. I've got those guys loose down there, and you need them to be loose because it makes it way easier to put your upper shock mount back in when you go back the other way. So pull those two bolts, get this shock loose. The reason why is the shock sits off at an angle and binds the movement of the suspension up and down. And of course it's a shock, so it also makes it much more difficult for you to manipulate the suspension up and down. The spring really bears no consequence here, especially since we have aftermarket lowering springs. There's not much tension when it's floating like this. So get this guy loose so it's not fighting you. And the other bit is the sway bar end link. Go ahead and knock this guy loose. Doop. I believe this one is also an 18, yes. So 18 to get this guy loose. If you have an impact, you can put an impact on this and just put a little pry bar and put a little pressure on the sway bar end link, and the impact can just rip this 18 mil off. If not, you're going to need to use a box end wrench and put an Allen key in the end of this to hold it still to back it off. And then you can remove this and then take your sway bar end link, slide it out, and that keeps the sway bar, which is connected to the other side of the car, from fighting the suspension from freely moving up and down. Again, lessons learned here. Lastly, to keep you from accidentally hurting this bracket or the ABS wire, I want you to take a 10 mil, loosen this bolt, and just tuck this guy off to the side, okay? And then take this bolt and don't stick it back in the hole, get it out of the way, because you're gonna be fighting with moving this area around right here. You don't wanna hurt that bolt or snap it off, but that's why we take it, we remove it, we get it out of the way so that there's no chance of hurting that. Next, this upper bolt is a 15 mil. Let me get that on there. The lower bolt is a 18 mil. This sucker down here has got Loctite on it, and it is very tight. So I recommend using an impact, though you have limited space here, so be mindful of that. But alternatively, a decently long breaker bar will get this guy loose. So go ahead and pull these two bolts. This one is threaded into the lower control arm. You have to be very careful with this. You only get one shot going out and in, not to hurt this. So if it feels bound up, stop, wiggle the suspension around now that you've loosened some things up, and then back it out. This guy's actually got a nut on it that is captured using a tab to help hold it still while you work with it. This bolt up here I found is very fragile to over torquing because it's very long, right? It's very long and it's under a good bit of stress. Be careful with this guy, especially when you retorque it. So let's pull these two bolts out and then I'll show you how to pop the vertical link out. Hey everyone, sorry to interrupt that awesome video that you're watching, but I need to take a minute to talk about our channel sponsor, CarLock. I don't know if you know this, but approximately every 3 seconds in the US, a vehicle is stolen. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to be part of that statistic. And CarLock is here to help you not become part of that statistic. How? Well, they sell a both OBD2 and hardwired version of a GPS tracking device that is 4G LTE enabled. Oh, but wait, there's more. It sends real-time notifications to your smartphone to say things like, hey, vibration has been detected. The door has been opened. Hey, your device has been disconnected. Someone's trying to steal it. Oh no, your engine has started. And even worse, your vehicle is now in motion and you didn't do it. And having those types of notifications for my project cars give me serious peace of mind. And they will for you too. Now, they also sell extension cables and splitters if you want to hide your OBD2 device under the dash, as well as extra sensors to increase your level of security if you so choose to. And for a short time, you're going to get a discount on your device. Well, down below, I'm going to have a code. First code is going to be for 10% off of CarLock's Amazon store. Second code is going to be for 14 free days of service. Y'all go check that out. Thank you very much, CarLock, for sponsoring this video here today. Y'all pick one up to help support the channel. Let's get back to the video. All right, so these bolts are now loose and out. I've got this guy out. You can see here's the nut that backed it up. It's got that tab on it that helps hold it still for you while you're tightening and loosening it. And then the lower bolt here, this guy comes right out of there. You can see the remnants of the red Loctite that were on it. And you would think, oh, this guy is just gonna pop right out of here. And that's true for the upper mount, usually, because it's just kind of sitting in a divot like this. The lower bit is what's gonna fight you. Don't pop this out first, because all you're actually doing is putting more stress on it. Leave it in this position, or if you can, sometimes if you pull them all the way forward, they feel a little more neutral. This one's about the same. We're gonna leave it in. Next thing we're gonna do is I've got a medium short size pry bar here, and I'm just gonna slip it into this slit and push this guy out. This cannot be done by hand, I promise you. It is very tight. And then boom, you've got a vertical link in your hand. Now, let me show you how to get the other one in without scarring it up too much. It's fun. All right. So I have the STEEDA arm here. We're going to talk about lubrication, specifically on the end that had the zip tie around it with these washers. You can see that it's got a little bit of the silicone suspension lubricant on it already, or this might be some sort of lithium grease. But I'm going to add more where the washer touches this bushing, because the way these camber arms work and vertical links work, and the reason why it's got this washer here is it actually acts like a thrust surface when the suspension articulates and keeps the lower control arm from being able to pinch the bushing. So it is important that we lubricate both sides so that this thrust surface doesn't bite or bind into the bushing and harm it. Up here, this is bit by the bolt, this metal section here, so it's stationary, and the only bit that moves is this metal inside of the bushing here, and this was lubricated on install, on assembly. So all we need to do is apply some extra lube to these thrust surfaces, and then we can stick it back in. All right, so here's how I do this. I'm gonna sit this into that divot first. The stock one would let you hop this over and pop it back out again, but these bushings are significantly stiffer, so you can't really accomplish that. And then once you've got that guy popped into its divot, you can start this into walking into that lower section down there. Now, sometimes if you're really, really lucky, the tolerance for the manufacturing of the lower control arm is different from car to car. It would be, you know, it's casting, right? So sometimes these will slip in on their own, but it feels like this one's pretty snug. The other side was pretty snug. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take this same medium-sized pry bar, and I can't wrap the rag around it. I don't have enough hands to show this to you. But what you're gonna do is you're going to grab that lip right here on the control arm with the pry bar, and then just start working, not enough hands. You're gonna start working this guy inwards into the control arm. And if you wrap a rag around the pry bar, you don't end up chewing this up. So let me at least get this started and most of the way, and I'll show you me pushing it in. So I've got the vertical link popped into place. So I'm kind of 50-50 on this. You'll figure it out as you go in, depending on how tight yours is. This side was definitely tighter than the other side. The lower control arm's cleft here that holds on to it. If they're looser, you don't need to put a bolt in here, and you can pop them in pretty easy with the pry bar. But in this one, it wanted to rotate this way on the way in, so I popped the top bolt in, which is pretty easy. Just stick it in there, and that holds the top still so that you can get a good angle and put pressure on this and pop it in. Now, what you're gonna find after you do that is that the bolt hole isn't quite gonna line up. And the way you're gonna fix that is to pick up on your suspension to make the bolt hole line up over here. You would not be able to easily make this movement if you had the sway bar and the shock connected, which is the reason why we've done this, to relieve stress on the unit. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick up on this guy a little bit and then slip that lower bolt in. It's gonna be tight all the way to the bottom. And when you start that bolt, you need to do it by hand and make sure that it's not cross-threaded before you run it in. All right, so now this guy is in here. I wanted to say, you can take this bolt back out again to help you wiggle this guy around to get this in, and don't be afraid to put a rag on top and hammer down, or a rag on the bottom and hammer up to wiggle around, or put the pry bar right here and nudge it gently until this guy will go in, and then, like I said, run it in by hand all the way to bottom. And then this guy right here, leave this guy loose. You can then line this up and push this one through. Much the same, grab onto the spindle, move it around until this wants to line up and slip through, run it down by hand. You're gonna torque this upper to 76 foot-pounds. I prefer to back off of that measurement a little bit because I know this guy can be pretty fragile. I suggest 70, 72, and just use a little bit of blue Loctite on the end. And then this guy right here goes to 129 foot-pounds. Now, once you've done that, reinstallation is in reverse order of assembly. Just go ahead and put your shock back in, put your bracket here back up and in, and then reconnect your sway bar. If you didn't disconnect these things and fault with it here, I'm proud of you. You can go ahead and just torque that, put your wheel back on, set the car down, and you're done. You can see what that looks like on this side once it's all assembled and everything's back together again, and our giant, beautiful vertical link is back in place. Thank y'all very much for watching what is now part 3 of phase 1 for our STEEDA badass suspension install for the Ecoboost, handling setup for the Ecoboost Mustang. So thank y'all for watching, and part 4 is coming right after this for phase 1, and then we're off to get in alignment. Thank y'all for watching. As usual, we love you. God bless. Peace.